Tonight is December the 5th, 2014. This is a Marshall amp I showed briefly on another video. It is complete and working quite well. What I did to it was change out a lot of parts. I put in a small mod, changed a bunch of the capacitors out to chiclet type capacitors and Phillips chiclet caps. These mustard caps. I'll show you underneath. It does have a replacement transformer. I didn't put that in there. It's been in there some time. Very, very hefty. It's the low voltage one, not the one that makes this thing put out 60 watts or so. This one will do 35 or so watts. Really nice. All the pots cleaned, all of them, of course. I got them all set straight up. All the inputs are working properly. It's really amazing that this thing has got a date here on it of it is 1969. I assume that's what that is right there. And it really hasn't been butchered. I'm really pleased. Got 3 good 12AX7s in it, some Switzlanas. I put the master volume control right here in one of the holes where one of the speaker outlets, a little speaker selection switch. You pull it out and rotate it around. And right here the voltage selector switch is not used anymore because it's got a different transformer. But it actually does quite well. Let me turn it over and I'll show you underneath it, and then I'll run a few little quickie tests on it. The primary changes were changing these capacitors out here, and all these back to the mustard type caps. This work had already been done on it. It's actually in quite good condition. We added this one. That was all part of the change. We added this master control. What this does is this takes the output of the entire voltage amplifier, and this feeds directly the grids of the EL34s. It also made some changes back here. This was the original cathode set up in the input stage, and it split the cathodes and put them on their separate bias resistors and bypass capacitors. Those kind of small changes. Looks really nice. Turned out real good. I'm real pleased with it. And like I say, just the fact that it hasn't been, I'm just going to call it butchered over the last 45 years is really nice. There's been some work done on it, you can see, but it's good work. It's all intact and performs well. Let me flip it back over here. Okay, I've got all the controls set at midpoint. Certainly might not be where a musician would play it, but that's where I'm going to test it. Here's, if I plug it into the 2 number 1 inputs with the number 1 volume, the 2 inputs with the number 2 volume, works great. It's all in really good shape. Let's see, how shall we look at it? Well, start out, there's its power right there. There's 24 watts with a minus 50 dBm signal at half point. Let's see, I'll do it like this. If I plug it into 1, I get this. Watch the power. I'm going to move it to 2. It goes down to 7.5 watts. Move it over to the 3rd one, getting really low, and the 4th one really low. If I turn up volume 2 all the way, I get 5 watts. That's down here in the lowest gain slot with the volume up all the way with a minus 50 dBm signal at 5 watts. When right above it, I get 18 watts. Nice and clean, actually. Nice clean signal. 2% THD. If we drive it up, if we put it back in slot 1 and run it up to say 10% THD, here's what we'll get here. Let's see, I gotta drive it a little harder here. Let's drive it a whole lot harder, isn't it? At about 10%. we get 37 watts. 10%. There's what it looks like. Yes, it's clipping. Yes, it has notch distortion. But you know, in the creation of music, that's not an all bad thing. That's the way they like it. So there you go. That's it. Not a whole lot to see. It's nothing terribly exciting. But after 45 years, it's actually still in quite good condition, and it was easy to clean up and repair and modify. The tubes are all really well balanced. These are all 3 USA tubes. Svitlana's. Let's see, the control mounted here on the back. I just mounted a kind of a sideways label on it. It says master volume. This is the master volume control right here. It controls everything because it controls the gain into the finals. So that's it. The gentleman's supposed to come pick it up tomorrow, so I hope it works really well for a long time, and hope you enjoy it. The last thing I almost forgot to show is always, not always, depending on the condition of the bottom plate, if it has one at all, sometimes they throw them away. I put in a copper sheet, and I've got it fixed so that, you can see that, so that the edges of the chassis bolt down against it, so it actually has a good complete shield on the bottom. That'll reduce the noise. What was in it was this, and I didn't even recognize it. It was so corroded, but it was there actually. See, that side doesn't look so bad, huh? But anyway, they don't extend it out to the holes, and I'm not sure, sometimes it makes very good contact, so I personally like that better. So I think that's it.